Matt Maloney's paths, our paths crossed about, was it 2-3 months ago, something like that, Matt? When,
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, when we called you because we saw a story about a ridiculously valuable Pokemon card, which was worth how much? About a couple of $1 million or something?
Oh, I think the one that was trying to be stolen was about $8,000.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But there's an influencer come WWE guy in the US who's got one that's worth how much?
Yeah, I think it was close to $2 million.
$2 million, and he wears it around his neck.
Around his neck,
and
that's
basically to say, look at me.
Yeah.
So it gave us an idea of just how potentially valuable collectible cards are. And part of that conversation extended into production here in Adelaide of a television series on people who collect stuff. And it's a big community, isn't it, Matt?
It is very big. Obviously where I'm involved with card collecting, but collectibles in general is huge.
It is huge. In fact, I had a brief conversation with Deb Tribe, who was doing our drive program today. And she said she can't help but collect things. Mm-hmm. I said, are you a collector? And she said, am I a collector? She just rattled off about a half dozen things she just automatically collects. And I've already had a text through from somebody who collects the Woman's Weekly recipe books. It's niche stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so the logistics behind this TV show are courtesy of Lennon Cooper, who is a cameraman, director and editor, has his own company. G'day, Lennon. How are you going?
How you going?
So what's the name of your company?
Flix Productions Australia.
Flix. And so how difficult is it to do something of this scale in Adelaide and actually get it to go to air on the Nine network? How logistically challenging is that, Lennon?
It was much harder executing it than I thought it was when I first met with Matt about the idea. And in total, it's probably taken to make the 10 episodes just over a year. We've travelled all around the country and found the best collectors that we can of all things pop culture and trading cards and stuff like that. But yeah, being based here in Adelaide, I think this is one of the only national TV series that's coming out of here at the moment. And just getting people in Sydney and Melbourne to take you serious, that you can deliver a show that is worthy of a national audience is difficult when you're here in Adelaide, and it's doubly difficult when you tell them it's about little toys and pieces of cardboards with photos on them.
Well, clearly it's popular. And look, just as an aside, it's a great frustration to me that this building, which is an enormous building, the ABC, when I first moved back here 20-something years ago from Mount Gambier, there were 400 radio and television staff in this building. There's under 100 now, and much of that was devoted to television production for national programs. And virtually nothing comes out of here now that is a television production. It all gets centralised to Sydney. And it doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I'm obviously biased, but I think a lot of the best talent comes out of Adelaide. I think even when you've been in some of those stations over in Sydney and Melbourne where they consider themselves, the bee's knees, I think you find half the people in those rooms come here from Adelaide.
Yeah, a lot of them do. And costs are lower. Renting office space and things like that, getting staff. It's less expensive to make stuff in Adelaide, and we make better stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Here into the sermon. And so Matt, obviously you're part of the program.
Yes.
Tell us your role and how you're involved.
So my business, Sports Card World, we've been around for just over 30 years. So we're sponsoring the program, and I guess being a collector myself, it's a passion. I'm a card collector, but obviously the things that we cross in the show is things I guess I've grown up with as well. So we talk about that nostalgia side of it. It's definitely something close to my heart, and I guess something that our business wanted to give back to the card collecting community. Something that has been really great for us for like the 30 years.
Yeah. What's the oddest thing that you have come across that people are collecting?
Oh. I mean, obviously, day to day, I'm cards, so it's.
Yeah.
I guess there's nothing too odd there, but I'm trying to think. You put me on the spot there. I can't really.
I would say some of the Australian variants of comic books that we didn't know existed.
Really?
So, talking to a comic book collector who's actually in episode 1, we came to realise that back in those early days of comic books, to be allowed to import things like Marvel Comics and DC Comics back then, they had to have the cover art and stuff redone by Australian artists, or Australia would not let them come in. And so that makes these versions of comic books super rare. So one of our collectors, for instance, has a very specific Incredible Hulk comic book, but the cover art was done by an Australian, and because of that is worth tens of thousands of dollars, because there's a percentage number of those in existence versus the hundreds of thousands of American prints out there.
Yeah. I've already had a text from someone who collects Betty Boops and also someone who collects Buddhas as well.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
That'd be a rarity, that's for sure. And logistically, because a lot of collectors like to keep the information to themselves. See, I know someone like, Rob Gerard, he's a huge collector. In fact, wasn't it about 5 or 6 years ago, something like that he had a significant percentage of his collection stolen? I've got a feeling that was the case. So collectors tend to be a bit private about what they've got, and they'll keep it in an area that is not easily accessible. How did you find out about their collections?
Instagram tended to be the first go-to, and we kind of started off with a list of, we knew in 10 episodes how many segments we needed, and we knew being the first season there were certain things we had to tick off. We had to find a Lego collector, we had to find a comic book collector, we had to find someone who collected Hot Wheels, vintage toys. There were things that we had to find. So we just went on deep dives through Instagram, because we knew that if these people were willing to share it on Instagram, chances are they would share it with us.
They would do it on a national television
great,
program, yeah.
And some of these, the collectors, they have dedicated, rooms in their homes to these items. So, they're very much, I guess, very proud and happy to display their collections. And it was great seeing some of these things in person.
What's the point in having these things if you're not going to show them off to everyone? Otherwise, why do you do it?
And are most of them single?
No, but they have very understanding wives.
Partners, I bet they do. Actually, a very good friend of mine collects American football helmets.
Oh, that's a good one.
And he has a significant collection of football helmets and things like that. Yeah. What are the people that you've met? I'm interested in the people that you've met along the way. Do they share characteristics, or are they individuals, or how would you describe the people who have that sort of passion?
Well, that's probably the one characteristic, is passion. A collector is very passionate, and I guess all collectors are like-minded. When they have a goal, and I guess it's not always about money as well. A collector, it's very much about, trying to, passionate about a collection is not always about having the most money. It's just about being, collecting to fulfill a set of cards, to obtain as many things of your favorite sports person or favorite, Disney character or something. So passion is the one thing that we found that was common in everyone, and everyone had a great story, and stories behind how they got into collecting and why they still do.
And we often preferenced collectors who had a interesting story over those who had value. Like, one that springs to mind is a Hot Wheels collector. We had another Hot Wheels collector who had a collection worth well over $1 million and lots of interesting things. And in the end, we chose a smaller collector who was super passionate, but had a specific story about one card that he bought in Indonesia when he was over there with his wife, and she was getting life-saving cancer treatment. And about what that car that's $2 means to him was a much better story to us than $1 million worth of cards that no one's ever going to be able to afford.
And you talked about a Disney collection. So you found a Disney collection?
Yeah, we had a Disney collection, which was really good. Disney's so, I guess, popular in all age
and
groups
broad.
as well.
There's lots of options. And does somebody who collects Disney memorabilia also tend to be a Disney character? In other words, do they dress to suit their collection?
She very much, she epitomizes everything about a Disney princess.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She almost strives to live in that same way. She particularly resonates with Cinderella because Cinderella always sees the good in people, and I learned over the course of the day of filming with her that was exactly her personality as well.
Good heavens, yeah. What was the biggest trip you had to do? What was the farthest point of Australia you had to travel to find a collector?
Well, lucky they weren't too far. Most of them were in 20, 30 Ks of the main cities. But yeah, just trying to think what...
Right, so you went to pretty well every capital city, though.
Yeah, everywhere but Perth in this first season.
Okay.
So yeah.
And you're planning a second season?
Definitely. I think since we've started promoting, we've had a lot of people get in contact with us with worthy collections, and we have no doubt that once it airs and people see other people's collections and that passion, I'm sure we'll have so many collections to choose from, and yeah, absolutely would love to do a second series.
I think a lot of the collectors out there were nervous when the show came up that we were going to poke fun at them and make them seem like nerds. We're confident that when they see the show and they see that we do not position them in that way at all, I think a lot of people will want to be a part of it that maybe had second guesses this first time around.
10 to 8 is the time. We're talking about the series that starts on the 22nd of June, isn't it? Which is called Cards and Collectables.
Cards and Collectables
Which is on your T-shirt.
Yeah.
It makes it nice and easy for you. Speak with Matt Maloney, who's owner of Sports Card World, and Lennon Cooper, who is the cameraman, director, and an editor of this program, which will go to air on 9 Go on 9 Now. That's right, isn't it? Are you a collector? Love to hear from you. 1300 222 891. What sort of things do you collect? And do you reckon you've got something that these gentlemen might be interested in? Okay, 1300 222 891 is the number to call. Lennon, I'm interested in. We started talking about the logistics of doing a program like this from Adelaide. How did you sell it? I mean, and who did you sell it to?
So I'm lucky in that even though I'm based here in Adelaide, I do production on a lot of shows, and one of those in particular was Antiques Down Under, which is a similar series but targeted to an older demographic and more antique type stuff.
Yeah.
And I do all the post-production on that. So over that time of doing a few seasons of that, I've got to know a lot of the people in high places at Channel 9. And what we did was Matt was kind enough to fund a pilot. We created a pilot with some incredible collections, and we sent that off to Channel 9 because we knew that a conversation would never be able to explain how exciting I can make these things look by shooting them in hero-type ways and making it interesting. So we sent the pilot off, and I remember saying to Matt, I've sent the pilot off. I don't know if this process is going to take six weeks, 6 months. I don't know when we're going to hear back. We may never hear back. Let's cross our fingers. The show goes for 22 minutes. 30 minutes after I hit send, I had someone from Channel 9 saying, "We love it.
Wow.
Let's do it."
Oh, well, that's encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, just pop your headphones on for a second because Matt's on the phone. Oh, Mark's on the phone from Halico. G'day, Mark. How you going?
Hello, Spence. Hello, guys. I'm well, thank you. I've got a little story for you that might break everyone's heart. Can I share it?
Please do.
I had a lovely partner of 7 years, and she had the beautifulest, most softest son called Nicholas. And Nicholas worked at Wallace Theatres for many, many years. I mean, like 15 years. He started when he was 15 and he finished when he was, close to 30. And he brought home the most incredible stash of memorabilia you've ever seen. And it was everything from inflatables, balloons, mannequins, outfits, posters, shoes, hats. Can you imagine everything he got? And he'd ask the boss, and the boss would go, "Yeah, no problems. You can take that home. We're finished with it. Promotion's over." And do you know what happened to it all?
No, go on.
His mum made him throw it out.
Oh. I wish this was the first time I'd heard this story.
Yeah.
This happens all too often.
Yes.
Seriously, he kept some of his favourites, but his bedroom became unlivable. Like there was a bed amongst a storage facility. It was just chock-a-block. And he had posters in cardboard, the round, solid cardboard tubes and all that. And he really kept some stuff that was special in his heart that he really liked, but so much of it got binned or given away, but mostly just binned. And I couldn't believe it because I'd look at it and go, oh, no, you can't do that.
No.
And his mum used to say, no one wants it. It's just rubbish. Get rid of it. So that's my story. Yeah,
there
it's a
you
bit
go,
of a sad
Mark.
one, but
Yeah.
he did keep some of it.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, thank you. And as you say, this is not an uncommon story. People, find themselves in a situation where they've got so much gear that is actually intruding on their life.
Yeah, I get it probably weekly that a mum or dad comes in and says, I threw my kids' cards out.
You're kidding.
and probably when they moved out of home.
Yeah.
And, they were Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something like that. And you go, yeah, they were probably worth a lot now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, condition is important when it comes to cards, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. You know the only thing I collect, and it'll have no value, but it's important to me because it takes me back to time. Because I worked in sport for many years, and so I have every media accreditation I've ever been issued with since probably 1999.
That makes two of us. We've got the exact same collection.
Yeah, it's worth absolutely no. But it's interesting because each one of them normally has a photograph on it.
Yes.
And you see how you've changed through the years.
But there's also a lot of events that, you've covered or I've covered in my life, and you pull them out and you go, I don't even remember doing that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's a nice thing to have. Now, you obviously funded the pilot. How did you fund the rest of it?
Through partnerships of other hobby-related businesses throughout the country. So while every episode breaks down into four collectibles type segments, one of them is always through someone that was generous enough to come on as a partner, and they feature in an episode as an expert. So one partner is a card grading company. So in their segment, they explain why you should grade your cards, what it does to the value, and what to look for when you're grading a card and things like that. So and that basically helped us fund all the collectors' segments.
Yeah, but you've got to organise that in advance, don't you? Otherwise, you're dipping into your own pocket a lot, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled for you. I'm really thrilled.
Oh,
who is he? Have you got a host?
John Casey.
Oh, John's hosting it,
Yep,
is he? Okay.
yep.
So I worked with John on basketball many years ago.
Oh, Adelaide legend.
And he was actually with the ABC for a while, based in Broken Hill.
Yes,
He went up to Broken Hill and did some online work for us in Broken Hill as well. Yeah,
he's a very good guy.
Yeah, and is involved in SANFL coverage now too, isn't he?
Yep. And was kind enough to do the pilot for us when there was no promises of this going anywhere. Gave his time and
just have a go.
Helped us put it together. So can't thank him enough.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
brilliant. All right, so just remind us. So it actually starts on the 22nd of June.
Yep, so this Sunday, 9 go at 3 p.m. and there's 10 episodes, so if you do miss it and you can't watch it, 9 now, you can stream it.
Wow. And can I ask how many South Australian collectors are featured in the series or not?
Due to budgetary reasons, a lot. Probably a third, I'd say. Probably a third are from Adelaide and the other 2/3 are from around the place.
Yeah. Have you got a personal favourite?
Personal favourite. Probably for me, as a kid who grew up with Ninja Turtles, I just love the Ninja Turtles segment because it reminds me of everything I didn't have when I was a kid and wanted.
Yeah, okay. And for you, Matt? And you're not allowed to say cards.
No, not cards. I really enjoyed, there's a Nintendo 64 collection. That was awesome. And arcade machines. So pinball machines, NBA Jam machine, which I spent lots of my teenage years playing. That was pretty cool.
Oh, I'd like that. I mean, you need a shed for a pinball collection.
This guy's got a very, very big area.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, that is brilliant. Hey, well played, gentlemen.